In this lesson, we will look at the provisions made to help the crew and passengers escape from the aircraft in an emergency. The number of emergency exits that an aeroplane requires is stipulated in the regulations. It varies with the number of passenger seats and the types of exit fitted. The requirements are shown on the table on the screen, but are not required knowledge. However many emergency exits are required, before an aeroplane with a seating capacity of more than 44 passengers can be certified, it must be demonstrated that all occupants, including passengers and crew, can be evacuated from the aeroplane using a maximum of half the exits in the dark in 90 seconds or less. Emergency exits may be passenger doors or removable panels or hatches. Or for the flight crew, they may be opening windows, direct vision windows, or a roof hatch. The regulations related to doors and other emergency exits are contained in EASA document CS25. The following is a summary of the regulations. All emergency exits, except the pilot's windows, must be openable from both inside and outside of the aeroplane. In the event of an emergency, they must be capable of being opened within 10 seconds. To aid identification, all emergency exits must be outlined externally by a 5 cm band in a contrasting colour. If a lockable door is fitted to the flight crew compartment, then suitable emergency exits must be provided, so that neither passengers nor crew members need to use the door in order to reach their designated emergency exits. If the aircraft capacity is over 20 seats, then flight crew must have their own emergency exit provision. This can be either one exit on either side of the flight deck, normally these are direct vision windows, or a single hatch in the roof. Each passenger emergency exit must be indicated by a sign, visible to the occupants approaching along the main aisle or aisles, and all emergency exits must be kept clear of any obstruction during flight. Each passenger emergency exit, its means of access, and its means of opening must be conspicuously marked. The operating method must be simple and obvious, and the exit must be capable of being opened in 10 seconds or less. The location of each passenger emergency exit must be recognizable from a distance equal to the width of the cabin. A means must be provided to assist the occupants in locating the exits in conditions of dense fog, smoke, or darkness. This is covered in the emergency lighting lesson. All passenger doors fitted in the side of the fuselage are considered to be emergency exits. Doors may be electrically or manually operated. In the case of electrical operation, there must be a manual override system, possibly with spring assistance, to ensure the doors can still be opened in 10 seconds in the event of electrical failure. In the particular door shown here, it is normally opened and closed using the push buttons. But in the event of an electrical failure, the manual handle can be pulled, allowing a compressed spring to open the door. There must be a means to lock and safeguard each external door against opening in flight. This can be done using an automatic system, which will lock and unlock the doors as the weight of the aircraft is taken by the wheels. Each door must be fitted with a warning system in order to alert the crew when it is not fully closed and locked. This Airbus display shows locked-closed doors in green and open doors in amber. Interlocks may be fitted between the door locks and the aircraft's pressurization system to prevent the doors being opened until the aircraft is fully depressurized. Escape hatches may be located in the passenger cabin over the wings. These are normally plug-type hatches and are held in place by mechanical locks and aeroplane cabin pressure. The hatches can be opened from the inside or from the outside of the aeroplane. A seat back blocking an exit may be pushed forward by applying force to the top of the seat back. For safety reasons, hatches should not be removed in flight. On some aircraft, hatch removal may illuminate the overwing emergency exit lights on the same side. If an escape slide is fitted, it will also automatically deploy when the hatch is removed. Some aircraft have escape straps stored in the overwing emergency escape hatch frame. The overwing escape hatch must be removed to expose the strap. One end of the strap is attached to the hatch frame. The other may have a clip on it to hook onto an anchor point on the wing. The escape strap can be used as a handhold in a ditching emergency to help passengers walk out onto the wing and step into a life raft. There are a number of regulations designed to ensure that escape through the emergency exits will not be hampered by their height above the ground. Each emergency exit, which is more than 6 feet, or 1.83 meters above the ground, with the aeroplane standing on its landing gear, must have a self-supporting slide to assist the aircraft occupants in descending to the ground. For aeroplanes for which a type certificate was first applied for on or after 1st of April 2000, there is a further regulation which requires that if, after the collapse of, or failure to extend of, one or more legs of the landing gear, any emergency exit, which now becomes more than 6 feet or 1.83 meters above the ground, must also have a self-supporting slide to assist the aircraft occupants in descending to the ground. These regulations only apply to overwing exits if the edge of the wing is more than 6 feet or 1.83 meters above the ground. The regulations also apply to flight deck emergency exits. However, the flight crew escape means may be a rope attached at one end to the fuselage, or inertia reels similarly attached to the fuselage. The regulations relating to evacuation assistance are now being displayed on the screen. Spend a moment familiarizing yourself with them before moving on. Emergency escape slides are inflatable units with integral carbon dioxide cylinders used to inflate them. Because of the size of the slides and the amount of gas required to inflate them, some systems use devices known as aspirators, which suck in outside air to supplement the carbon dioxide in the inflation process. When not required for emergency use, the escape slides are stowed in compartments on the bottom inner face of the passenger doors. There is a carbon dioxide cylinder pressure gauge visible through a cutout in the stowage container. The door slides incorporate a retaining bar, known as a girt bar. It is fixed to the top of the slide. The girt bar can be in one of two positions. It may be either fixed to the cabin floor or free to move with the rest of the slide. It is the position of the girt bar which governs whether the slide will deploy or not when the door is opened. If the door is opened with the girt bar attached to the floor, the slide will be dragged from its container by the door opening action. The automatic inflation system will then inflate the slide. However, if the door is opened with the girt bar free to move with the slide, then the slide will remain in its container. The girt bar is fastened to the cabin floor from when the aircraft leaves the stand at the start of a flight until it returns to the stand at the end, so that in the event of an emergency, the slide will deploy when the door is opened. The bar is disconnected from the floor prior to the door being opened to allow passengers to embark and disembark. In the simplest system, the girt bar is moved manually into and out of the cabin floor attachment points by a cabin crew member. On most modern aircraft, the girt bar is positioned by operation of a two-position slide lever, either on the door or on the cabin wall adjacent to the door. The two positions are marked manual or detach, and automatic or engage. With the lever in automatic or engage, the girt bar is fastened to the cabin floor and the slide is armed to deploy if the door is opened. If the lever is placed to manual or detach, then the girt bar is free to move with the slide and the door can be opened normally. If an attempt is made to open the door from the outside with the slide lever in the automatic or engage position, the lever will automatically move to the manual or detach position, thus preventing slide deployment and possible injury to the person opening the door. If the slide fails to automatically inflate when it is deployed, a backup inflation handle located at the top of the slide can be pulled in an attempt to release the carbon dioxide and inflate the slide. In the event of a landing on water, many large aircraft use the escape slide as a survival raft, with space for up to 60 people. To use the slide in this way, it is activated as before, and then can be released from the aircraft by pulling the slide release handle, which can be found under a cover at the top of the slide. The use of slides as life rafts is fully covered in the first emergency equipment lesson. In the event that the nominated emergency exits are blocked or are unable to be opened, supplementary escape routes, which can be broken into by the fire services from outside the aircraft, may be available. These take the form of cut-in or break-in areas. Cut-in areas are rectangular in shape, marked by red or yellow-coloured 3 cm wide right-angled corners. The markings are outlined in white if a contrast is required. Cut-in areas are not weak points on the fuselage structure, but areas under which no control runs, electrical looms, or stringers exist. That is the end of the lesson. You should take the following key points from it. The emergency exits on transport aeroplanes must allow all passengers and all crew members to leave the aeroplane within 90 seconds through 50% of the available emergency exits in the dark. Emergency exits must be able to be opened in 10 seconds or less. All emergency exits must be outlined externally by a 5 cm band in a contrasting colour. Cut-in areas are rectangular in shape, marked by red or yellow-coloured right-angled corners, and outlined in white if a contrast is required. Emergency exits, which are more than 1.83 metres or 6 feet above the ground with the aeroplane standing on its landing gear, or for aeroplanes for which a type certificate was first applied for on or after 1st of April 2000, after the collapse of or failure to extend of one or more legs of the landing gear, must have a self-supporting slide to assist the aircraft occupants in descending to the ground. Slides are inflated by integral carbon dioxide cylinders, supplemented by outside air. If an attempt is made to open a door from the outside with the slide lever in the automatic or engage position, the lever will automatically move to the manual or detach position. If the aircraft capacity is over 20 seats, or there is a lockable door to the flight deck, the flight crew must have their own emergency exit provision.